The best and worst Mythic Plus comps in WoW Midnight. Let's get into it, boys. You're Mythic Plusing, you're grinding out those uncapped crests. Well, let's find out what the best comps are currently in WoW Midnight from Marcellian and Flame. Here we go.
Hey guys, can I join your group?
No.
Hey guys, do you need a bloodlust?
No.
Hey guys, I can dispel.
No.
As you can see, the world of Mythic Plus isn't kind to all specs across Azeroth, and some have a harder time than others. That is why Marcellian and Flame have made it their job to shine a spotlight on all manner of comps for Mythic Plus and give you the best 5 of them.
Am I in?
What did I tell you?
To sing the song if I want to join the group.
And
Poor Augies.
But
No,
I
this is
actually have a
Devastation
good
Evoker,
trick in this-
actually, isn't it?
sing.
I'm a little deaf, but wait a bit. I have skills and a lacking kit. Do you think in your group that
Yeah, it's
I
deaf.
can fit? Probably not. My DPS is shit.
Very good. You may
Poor
join.
guy.
As augmentation.
There you go. We want Augies.
Let's get the boring out of the way first and talk about the actual meta. Depending on your involvement in the Mythic Plus scene, you may already know that the best composition to play as of this video, and for a while up until this point, is Guardian Druid, Mistweaver Monk, Unholy Death Knight, Devourer Demon Hunter, and Augmentation Evoker. This
Nice
composition
comp.
took the community by storm as soon as the tank buffs hit, and the bears
comp.
figured out how to play without the apex talents. So did the Mistweavers. You end up with the incredibly engaging rotation
The bears are so OP. We just watched Method did a 30-man heroic raid. All bears. Swiping the entire raid. They completed it.
of Moonfire into Thrash, into Moonfire into Thrash, into Iron Fur,
Thrash,
into
thrash,
Moonfire
thrash.
into Thrash, into Moonfire into Thrash, and what was next?
Probably Moonfire or Thrash.
Ah, I'll just replace all buttons with Moonfire and Thrash and bind Iron Fur on my mouse wheel and I'll be Gucci. Another reason this is good is because Mistweaver has also been elevated to a spinning crane kick machine where, similarly to Bear, you need to understand that you really only need one button to do really good healing and
That's
some
good.
cooldowns to make that button a little bit better. Huh. Also, having Dance with the Wind work on bleed ticks without losing your defensive stacks definitely makes this talent actually not ironically suck, but conversely incredibly good considering
Monks, I feel like monks have had an overall pretty good expansion. I mean, I know Brewmaster isn't #1 anymore because Guardian has just surpassed him, but overall, they've had some good utility. They've been part of the meta this entire expansion, whether it was through Brewmaster or now Mistweaver. They've been doing good.
how many bleeds we have this season. The DPS specs are very straightforward, and I will mention them quick here so that I don't have to for the rest of this video. Unholy, Devour, and Augmentation are the de facto meta DPS specs. The reason we consider them is that they occupy the #1 best key done in the whole game by all
24?
top groups by quite a margin. Now, you may have played throughout this season and noticed that the meta did not start out this way, and this comp is definitely not what you see at your key level.
Yeah, early on, I think Frost Mage was part of the comp for sure. Wasn't Destro Warlock part of it too for a little bit there? I know Frost definitely was.
And that's where the rest of this video comes in, because we will consider these 3 DPS specs as meta so that every other spec is fair game to be featured in the rest of the M+ comps that we will look at, but with different contexts.
Most played top 5 comp.
This next one is what people might actually think is the meta, but isn't really. This is coincidentally the comp that we play in our key pushing adventures. We have the Brewmaster Monk as the tank,
Yeah,
Resto
yeah.
Druid as the healer, Unholy Death Knight as the tanky DPS, Demonology Warlock as your DPS engine, and Frost Mage
Demonology
as your...
Warlock's what I was thinking.
These other 2 specs suck.
Yeah, Demonology, Warlock, and Frost Mage have been part of the meta in a mix, but Augmentation replaced them recently.
At these 2 things that I am amazing at, specialization and Source of Bloodlust. Brewmaster might still be considered meta by a lot, and it's not like it suddenly started to suck against Bear. If you have a keen eye, you will notice that both the healer and tank roles have the same classes, only that their roles have been inversed. Something we have never seen in any M+ season so far as the meta is concerned. Sure, this composition is one tiny buff away from taking the meta spot from the previous team, but until that happens, we will rank them as the most popular group composition this season, despite them losing the #1 spot, best team, to the one that we just talked about.
Yeah, this is, Doc says in chat, yeah, this is the group that you see mostly in Pugs. Yeah, this is the one too. Yeah, that's what I've seen mostly too. The truth is, there's just not a lot of evokers out there. Even when augmentation becomes part of the meta, it's like, there are some of the least, it's the least played class in the game. So yeah, there's just not going to be a lot of them out there.
This next comp we are looking at will likely be of most interest to the most people. The actual highest reward you can achieve this season in Mythic Plus is the newly introduced Saddle reward, where you can use it to purchase past Keystone Mound rewards that you may have missed. This saddle is rewarded upon achieving 3.4k Mythic score, or Raider IO score.
Oh, I said 3,500 this morning. It's 3,400. My bad. Yeah, this is not the top, though. The top one is the top 1% achievement.
And is the only tangible reward left to chase that's not just a leaderboard position. 3.4k IO score is also obtained upon clearing all 16s or an equivalent level of key difficulty. We have a few 15s, a few 16s, and a few 17s under our belt for our 3.4k score achievement. And the best or most used composition for this includes Guardian Druid again, Restoration Shaman as the healer, Demonology Warlock, Unholy Death Knight, and Red Paladin. Ooh. This last one is actually the most popular Mythic Plus spec, period. Just a little FYI. Red also seems to synergize really well with Restoration Shaman because of the mastery buff that the latter brings to the group, a buff that is universally considered to be the strongest as far as DPS gain is concerned. Everyone loves mastery, and even Demonology, who gets crit and haste as main stats, also loves the no diminishing returns mastery addition from just having a shaman in the group. Shaman is also a good source of a curse dispel, as well as having incredible healer cooldowns to offset the lack of a super efficient rotation.
Right, they're the only healers with interrupts too, right? So that's always a good thing.
Or ridiculous throughput that the other more popular healers might have. Because you also don't have a poison dispel on this healer anymore, Rit once again...
What do you mean not anymore? Did they lose it or did somebody else gain it? I'm not a healer. I don't keep up with that shit. I just know how the expansion started out. Did somebody else gain the ability to interrupt or did they lose it? That's my question.
Implements the synergy as well as bringing a bleed removal through Blessing of Protection for its party and Divine Shield for itself. Unholy and Demonology are just DPS powerhouses.
The non-meta
Let's make
top
this
5
a little more interesting. What is the best non-meta group composition? The problem this season, which is also the reason why this season might just be the best Mythic Plus season we ever had, is that a lot of specs are really good, and most of them have been meta at some point this season. Because of this, it is hard to talk about true off-meta specs, since the best non-meta specs are the ones that have just been meta a second ago. That refers to Frost Mage once again, which started the season incredibly strong alongside Demonology Warlock, which is still pumping above what should be legally allowed for Warlocks and has been for years and years. Thank God Warlocks are good. We round up the DPS with Red Paladin as the numero uno fan favorite spec for 5 years straight.
Yeah, it's the #1 most played spec in the game, so it just tends to find its way into metas all the time. Even if it's not meta like DPS, there's just so many of them. They're just going to be part of the most run comps.
The healer falls down to Druid, and the tank, surprise,
like opposite
surprise,
of augmentation.
Prot Warrior this time.
Ooh.
This is the true best off-meta composition, no matter what you want to believe, because I know what a lot of people might be saying about having Demonology and Resto Druid here. But don't get it twisted, meta is just this. This right here. You can use any website with aggregate data that will 100% be obtained from logs, no matter what you look at it, and it will just be a version of this.
Right.
There is not much to say here. The standouts are clearly Protection Warrior as the bottom worst tank this season statistically, based off of a lot of meta ranking websites. Despite it being statistically the worst, it is also the first non-bear, non-brute tank to push into higher keys right now. So at least we have not considered Warrior to be the worst tank, since that falls down to another. All of this might be a bit unsatisfying.
We're always at the shit bottom of a we're too slow. We're too slow, and our health is so rampant, like it just moves a lot at the start of a pull. That's why we're great for raiding. Like, blood DKs are just so good for raiding because they have that sustainability to keep a fight going over a long period of time and heal and survive it. But like these short bursty fights, it's just not our thing.
Fine, so we have saved the best for last.
Worst spec. Oh no, he's gonna put blood on here. Shit.
This was actually the hardest comp to find and prove that it exists. So let me tell you why, and maybe once you understand why, you can appreciate the balance and tuning that went into this game so far as Midnight is concerned. First of all, every single worst spec in the game has pushed a key above plus 20, and every time it was in a group with at least one meta spec, making this particular composition hard to find. I suppose that is not surprising at all, but it did make our job significantly harder. Finding a group of adventurers that not only had the worst specs in their party, but also zero of the best specs.
So he's about to tell us the group that actually did a key with all of the worst specs possible. This group deserves some credit. Anybody can play as meta, but this group right here, they overcame everything against them.
Has been particularly challenging.
Let's see what it is.
Radar.io has actually made this significantly easier, and we super recommend you use it if you haven't already. The undisputed champion of the Dirt Pit starts with Devastation. Devastation Evoker has received some pretty brutal nerfs at the beginning of the season that it has not recovered from since. Even so, looking at the top Devastation out there doing keys, we can clearly see them crushing it with meta specs in their party. And even checking some of the best keys done without the absolute best meta comps, we found them firstly in a group with a Demonology, which granted we agreed it wasn't meta, but was also not doing this comp any favors. But at least there was a Blood Decay tank and a non-druid or monk healer to make up for a more unorthodox synergy. Secondly, we found an even more obscure comp with, yes, a bear, but also a Discipline Priest, Arcane, and Havoc Demon Hunter. While Havoc and Discipline are by no means bad specs, Arcane absolutely is, at least in the context of who has the bigger dick.
Oh my god, who's playing Arcane Mage right now? Jeez.
Arcane
I think Fire Mage is worse though, isn't it?
Is actually the third worst DPS spec statistically, meaning that we were getting close to finding our most ugliest of ducklings of M+ comps. Holy Priest is definitely the worst rated healer, so we would have to fit this bad boy in the group as well. Since Warrior was a debatable bottom of the barrel tank, what other contestants were there? There is one tank that never disappoints to remind us that once bottom, always bottom. Blood Death Knight is definitely it. Not by much, by the way, and depending on which religion you pick up your stats from, Blood is fighting hard to stay not worst. In the process, we actually found a comp featuring Blood.
We're slow, we don't do enough damage. Our health yo-yos a lot early in fights before we reach like a level of sustainability. It's, you know, it is what it is. We're just not made for Mythic Plus.
Holy Priest, Arcane, Devastation, and BM Hunter. While BM Hunter is no diamond in the rough, it is not really an eyesore as far as DPS goes. But there is one that is, and that is Destruction Warlock. In a world where Demonology reigns supreme and Affliction has risen from the ashes, Destro has little chances of making anything happen except the best worst spec comp for Mythic Plus. That's right, folks, we found it. Someone actually played this tutti frutti pina colada of a Mythic Plus key.
I wonder if it was me. Because I did time a 10, although I don't think we brought a holy. Did we bring a holy? Wait, was Pooh our healer? Hold on, was Pooh our healer? And doesn't Konesia play Devastation Evoker? Was this us?
And if we look at this graph right here, comprised of the worst specs for Mythic Plus in the game, we see that our Destro friend isn't really the most popular one, clearly, because that's not what we're looking for.
Might be us.
However, we can probably agree they are all mostly equal in representation.
I agree, we did not have 2 mages. I think we did have 1, though.
And the fact that Affliction, Survival Shadow, and
wondering if one of these was
Augmentation
us.
of all specs are far from being bottom barrel material.
Oh, that's true. We did have Tundra Freeze, who is, yeah, he plays Unholy DK. That's true.
But there you have it. Blood, Holy, Arcane, Devastation, and Destruction are what we consider the best, worst spec composition for Mythic Plus. The amount of keys people are doing is unreal, and the amount of specs that are seeing 20s and higher is also unheard of. And as a bonus, here's the worst key this season so far. Don't be mean to people. We already blurred out their names, but I know you bastards are resourceful.
It's not me. It's not me. it's a protection
Most
paladin.
importantly, don't forget to have fun. Meta is one thing, fun is another. Sometimes. And we ranked the most fun melee specs in Midnight, again, because some of them changed, so check it out. And as always, don't forget to tell us how wrong we are.
Nice video overall. This is funny. I always like looking at this stuff. To me, like, meta, I mean, he even says it in the video. Basically, like, you have the true meta specs that, like, yeah, there's top-end people playing them for pushing these high keys. But then you have, like, the real meta. Like, the one most people are using. And it doesn't involve augmentation. We saw those comps. Yeah, so like a lot of good combinations. And hey, even the worst got some shit done. So that's impressive. Nice video overall from our Marcellian and Flame.